Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome back. Today is day 2. So last night what I did was I took the opportunity to kind of flush out my outline a bit. I flushed out my outline. I know that this is a psychological thriller mystery. I have my act 1, which is my setup and my opening, quote unquote, the ordinary world. Then I have my inciting incident. Then I have my rising action. I also worked out. Oh, I have a lot of bullet points here. My first plot point. And that should actually get me to 5,000 words. Normally I don't print things out, but I really feel like that I should print this out so I can have it to the side. Normally I write in Scrivener, but because this, I wonder if I really should write in Scrivener because that's my normal thing is that I write in Scrivener, but I started this in Google Docs because the submission guideline says, and I did some of that. Here's my little handy dandy notebook. So the ProWritingAid Novel Beginnings, here goes some of their rules. Your document, your story, the first opening has to be between 4,500 and 5,000 words. That's the first thing. Of course, no AI. You cannot have been traditionally published, which is fine. No agent, so you're not represented. Entries are accepted between February 1st and March 31st. You can only submit one entry. No identifiable info on the entry, so no author name. But the formatting rules, you have to have 12-point Arial or Times New Roman and a 1.5 line spacing. And the genre is suitable for YA or adult fiction. You submit it as a Word document, a Pages document, or a PDF. So you can pick one of those. And I think that's why I went with Google Docs because of the Word document. I have a MacBook Air. I do use Pages. I don't have Microsoft. So the closest that, well, Scrivener can also export in a Word document. So there's that. Saved working title of the work, no author name, include on first page, submission, word total, and genre. I'm sorry, Google Docs. I get it. I got to set this up in Scrivener. I have to set this up in Scrivener. It's just a little bit easier. So we'll do blank because there's a lot of other things that don't. Let me put my working title in. Okay, creating. This is good. You're working it out with me. Okay. Because the way that I set up my Scrivener, every folder is one scene and a point of view. If I put another scene in there, it is related and it does put maybe the little ellipses or the, some little, well, in vellum. So let me put a folder, and that folder now is chapter 1, and then I'm going to put my document in there. Okay. Then I'm going to just copy this from Google Docs. And then paste, match style. All right. So much better, so much better. Okay. I can take this out. First page of submission on title. Doesn't have to be perfect, Michelle. I need to make sure that I change this because my default on my text documents is 2.0 and it has to be 1.5. Let me change this from 14 now to 12. It just feels like it's getting smaller and smaller. Let's go back to Times New Roman because that's what I'm used to looking at. Let me put in here title, and then word count, and genre. Okay. Let me just put in here page 1. Then I'll go here and I'll put in new folder, chapter 2. And then now I can go to my project targets. My deadline's the 23rd, even though you have up until March 31st, but I'm going to do March 20th as my date. And then for words, I'm going to put in 5,000. It says between 4,500 and 5,000. So I think I'm going to put in 4,600, and then I'm going to have a run over, show run over. So according to this, and it counts all these words. So now I need to now start writing my chapter 2, which means I have to go back to my outline. Hold on while I go print this. I'm back. Got my printed sheets here. Okay, this goes, it's really a lot being a full-time writer. So I used to work for the federal government. I was a HR person. I used to work in operations. I used to work in strategic human capital management, which is just a fancy words for workforce planning, those types of things. And last year, when the new administration, not so new because it was a repeat, but kind of new because we weren't expecting that. Different stuff happened, and I was told, amongst a lot of other people, that more than likely the division that I was in was going to be abolished. They would try to find a place for us, but it could be doing work that I didn't have any knowledge of, and that would have been really difficult because the way that they were giving us information, they were saying something to the effect of about performance, and it could have been where two things could have happened. I could have been fired from my job because I wasn't able to do it, but then that's like being set up to fail. And then because you put me in a position that I didn't have any information about in the first place, I was eligible for early retirement, and that's what I took. I decided that because having somebody else to make decisions for you is a little difficult. So I took the DRP last year. Really tried to work through this transformation because I was already an author. I was already writing books. So now I'm just leaning really heavily into something that I was already doing anyway. And here we are. So now that I've gotten this printed out, close that, then I can close that, and then I can go to Scrivener and pick up where I left off on chapter 2 or scene 2. Maybe I need to do some more work to chapter 1 first, because this is what my outline is saying. Okay, I'm going to add. This is throwing me off how I did this outline, but anyway. Okay. I put in placeholders in this because I don't know some things here. I haven't flushed out some things here, so I just put some placeholders here. Look at me. 88. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So that's 200. Okay. And this is 200 words. Look at me go. Okay. I'm in the flow now. We're just going to get down some action and dialogue, and then we'll come back. I'm at 316 words now. Woo-wee. Oh. Facial features, height, facial features, and body structure. I almost had a head hopping situation right there. Caught myself. I just caught myself. I'm at 374 words. I want to get to 400 words. And then I'll be done for the day. And then I can go back to my editing, my other point of view, point of view, point of view, point of view. Okay. No adverbs. Oh my God, I cannot stand adverbs. You know what? This is just a rough draft, and then I'll fix it. It's always about the editing. Okay. Gawkers. And I am finished for the day. I wrote 440 words. Okay. Printed out my outline here. And yes, now I get to do my little treat. And my little treat is I get to open my new iPad. I have been waiting to open this. I bought it last Saturday, and today is Wednesday. So what was that? January 31st. And I haven't opened it yet because, and I had my Apple Pencil Pro. I didn't open it yet because I was waiting for two items, which was the screen protector, which came on Monday, and matte glass. And then, of course, my case, which came this morning, today. So now I get to open that up. Not going to do an unboxing, but yay, presents for me. So this was day 2. I hope you come back tomorrow for day 3. All right, you all. Peace.